So let's unpack this. If you're on TikTok in 2025 trying to get noticed, it feels less like building an audience and, well, more like shouting into a hurricane, right?
Oh, absolutely. It's incredibly crowded.
The platform is packed, the algorithm's always shifting, and everyone's fighting for that for you spot. So how do you actually cut through that noise and, grow?
That's the big question.
And that's really the mission for this deep dive. We've gathered a bunch of recent articles, some research looking specifically at how to accelerate TikTok growth right now.
Mhm.
And there's a particular focus in these sources on like the evolving role of growth services alongside the strategies we kind of already know.
The tried and true stuff.
Exactly. We want to
Yeah.
figure out what the sources say actually works in 2025, that mix of, your own organic effort and maybe some strategic tools.
That blend.
Right. And look, as we jump in, the sources pretty much immediately highlight that getting that initial push, that first bit of visibility,
Mhm.
it often needs something more strategic.
Yeah, getting started is tough.
They point straight to services like rapidboost.net, mentioning it as a resource where you can purchase followers, likes, views delivered quickly and securely, basically a way to help kickstart your journey, get the ball rolling.
And what's really fascinating when you dig into these sources is just how much the landscape has, well, matured.
Yeah.
TikTok isn't just dance trends anymore, is it? It's a huge platform. Creators, brands, even news, education.
It's everywhere.
But yeah, with that growth comes intense competition. The universal challenge these articles talk about is just gaining momentum, gaining followers, getting engagement fast enough to even show up on the algorithm's radar.
It really feels like luck just isn't a viable strategy anymore. You can't just cross your fingers and hope a video blows up.
Nope, not reliably.
The sources seem to be saying you need data, a clear strategy, and maybe increasingly some practical support.
Absolutely. And this brings up the core question the sources are wrestling with. Why are growth services becoming not just an option, but almost, well, essential for a lot of people in 2025? A huge factor is the shift in the algorithm. It seems to be increasingly prioritizing accounts that show, one, consistent engagement, but also, two, demonstrating rapid initial growth.
Rapid growth.
Yeah. The sources suggest that getting followers quickly, those timely gains, are now a key signal the algorithm looks for when deciding, okay, should we push this content wider?
Huh. So what does that pivot towards prioritizing rapid growth tell us about maybe TikTok's goals for the platform? Why is speed suddenly so critical?
That's a great question. The sources seem to imply that TikTok wants to find and amplify content with real viral potential faster.
Okay.
So if an account shows it can pull in significant interest early on, measured partly by that initial follower bump and how people engage with new videos right away, the algorithm sees it as like a stronger bet for wider distribution.
In a super crowded market, it's their way of sorting through the noise, maybe, finding the promising stuff quickly.
Exactly. It's a sorting mechanism.
Okay, so if you're starting out, or maybe you're just stuck, relying purely on organic growth could be painfully slow. You might just stay invisible to this speed-focused algorithm.
Precisely. And in this market, which is just incredibly competitive, standing out organically, especially for newcomers, it's harder than ever. So services offer a kind of tactical shortcut.
Right.
They help build that first layer of credibility, that signal strength the algorithm seems to be looking for now.
The social proof thing. The sources mention that a lot. Basically, having more followers makes your account look more legit,
It really does.
which then naturally attracts more organic views, likes, and ultimately, yeah, attention from both the algorithm and other potential followers. People are just more likely to follow an account that looks like it already has some traction, right?
It's basic psychology, yeah.
Yeah.
And this brings us to some real-world examples the sources use. Take the case study of Sophia.
Okay, so
She was a skincare entrepreneur, posting consistently for 2 months, but stuck around 300 followers. Felt totally invisible.
ouch.
So she implemented a strategy that included using a reputable growth service. And the results, he hit 10,000 followers in 3 weeks.
Wow, 3 weeks from 300.
Yeah. And engagement didn't just keep pace, it actually soared.
Mm.
By May 2025, so pretty recently according to the article, she wasn't just posting videos, she was landing premium brand partnerships.
Directly because of that accelerated growth.
Directly. The growth gave her the visibility she needed. It shows how a strategic boost isn't just about numbers, it can genuinely unlock opportunities.
That's a powerful demonstration. But okay, this is where the sources get really specific, and it sounds crucial for 2025. It's not about the old shady bot stuff.
No, Definitely not. The modern legitimate services, as the research describes them, they combine ethical automation with real user engagement networks.
Okay, let's unpack real user engagement networks a bit. What does that actually mean in practice? How is it different from just buying fake accounts?
Right. Good question. So think less about buying like static empty profiles. It's more about tapping into a network where your content gets shown to a pool of actual real TikTok users.
Okay.
Now, these users might be incentivized somehow, or maybe they're part of specific niche communities curated by the service. The key goal is getting genuine initial interactions, likes, comments, views from real people.
Why is that so important?
Because, well, the sources suggest TikTok's detection systems are pretty sophisticated now. They don't just look at the number of followers you gain, but the pattern of growth and, crucially, the quality of the engagement.
Ah, okay.
So getting 10,000 followers overnight who never watch a single video, that throws up red flags.
Right, looks fake.
Totally. But gaining followers who then actually watch, like maybe share your content, that looks much more organic to the algorithm, and that's what helps get you pushed onto the For You feed.
So it's really about triggering those early authentic engagement signals that the algorithm values?
Exactly. And the better services, they offer targeted strategies. They try to connect you with users who are already interested in your niche, fitness, art, cooking, whatever it is.
Which means those new followers are more likely to stick around and actually engage long term.
That's the idea. More relevant engagement.
And the sources also hammer on transparency, don't they? Look for services that give you analytics dashboards so you can track the growth and make sure everything's safe and compliant with TikTok's rules.
Absolutely critical. Using services that strictly follow TikTok's guidelines is non-negotiable. You don't want to risk your account. The research points to looking for clear pricing, secure payment methods, and really importantly, customer support you can actually reach.
Yeah, makes sense. So it sounds like services can provide that vital initial push or help you break through a plateau. But like you said up front, it's a blend. The sources spend just as much time on the essential organic stuff that has to work alongside any boost.
Correct. The foundation, always, is optimizing your actual profile. It's your digital storefront, right? Your calling card. It's high-quality profile photo, a compelling bio, and make sure it's packed with relevant keywords people might search for, like vegan recipes, or comedy sketches, or tech reviews.
Good point.
And pinning your absolute best videos right at the top. First impressions matter.
Totally. That's the first thing someone sees.
Yeah.
And consistency, still king.
According to these sources, absolutely. The algorithm still rewards accounts that post regularly. They suggest aiming for a solid schedule, maybe 4 or more times a week if you can manage it.
Okay.
And staying plugged into trending sounds. Hashtags, that's still crucial for getting seen in the moment.
Right, like that example of Kevin, the science explainer guy, mentioned in one report.
Yeah.
He apparently doubled his weekly new followers just by sticking to a simple Monday, Wednesday, Friday posting schedule. Just sheer consistency.
It compounds.
Yeah.
And beyond just posting, the sources really highlight the power of collaboration and community engagement. It's more than just, replying to comments.
Oh, okay, like what?
Actively collaborating. Doing duets, using the stitch feature. And an interesting tactic mentioned is forming these micropods.
Micropods?
Yeah, basically small, trusted DM groups with other creators. The idea is you share your latest videos there as soon as they go live for immediate engagement.
Oh, interesting. And what's the thinking behind that helping with the algorithm? How does a small DM group make a difference?
Well, the sources suggest it's all about sending a strong early signal to the algorithm.
Right.
When your video gets immediate likes, comments, shares from this trusted network right after you post it, it basically tells the algorithm, hey, pay attention. This video is getting engagement right now.
So that strong initial burst can help it get pushed onto the For You feed faster than just waiting for people to stumble across it organically.
That seems to be the theory, yeah, creating that initial buzz.
Makes a lot of sense. And trends. How do you use them without just becoming a clone and losing your own voice?
That's the real art, isn't it? The sources emphasize using trends authentically. It means finding a way to merge a trending sound or filter with your specific style, your content. Maybe an illustrator uses a viral dance sound, but it's the soundtrack to a speed draw reveal.
Or a book reviewer uses a trending soundbite to react to a plot twist.
Exactly. You maintain your core identity while still kind of riding the wave of what's popular right now.
Gotcha. And hashtags being strategic, not just stuffing them in. Mixing broad ones with really niche ones.
Right. And using tools like TikTok's own Creative Center to see what's actually trending within your specific community, not just globally.
So targeted tags are way better than just overloading with generics.
Far more effective, according to the research.
Okay, so we've got this potential strategic boost from services, and then the foundational organic work profile, consistency, engagement, trends, hashtags. The sources are really clear. You kind of need both working together.
Definitely a combined approach.
But with so many services out there, and let's be honest, a lot of skepticism, how do you identify a legitimate one in 2025?
That skepticism is totally valid. And the sources tackle it head on. They say differentiation is key. First step. You absolutely have to research reviews beyond the provider's own website.
Okay, so not just their testimonials page.
No way. Look for genuine feedback on Independent Places forums, Trustpilot, Reddit threads. See what real users are saying. Don't just trust the sales pitch. That's like critical advice.
Look for unbiased proof. What else?
Look for documented case studies or actual proof, verifiable before and after stats, maybe testimonials where you can actually check the usernames.
Makes sense.
Transparent pricing is huge. The sources flag hidden fees is a major red flag for sketchy services. It should be clear upfront what you're paying for.
And being able to actually talk to someone, customer support, seems basic, but the research points out a lot of services kind of ghost you once they have your money.
Yeah, test their responsiveness before you commit. Send an email, use their chat function, see if you get a real helpful response.
Good tip.
And finally, a trial period or some kind of money-back guarantee. That's usually a strong positive sign. It means the provider is confident enough in their results to offer a low-risk way for you to try them out.
Right. And as the source material we looked at notes, services like rapidboost.net get highlighted specifically for making this process relatively fast and risk-free, providing a straightforward way to purchase what you need for that initial lift.
Yeah, they're mentioned as an example of that accessible approach.
Okay, so putting this all together, if someone's listening right now, what are the most actionable steps they can take based on all this research, like today?
Okay, first thing, dedicate like 20, 30 minutes today to auditing and refining your profile. Seriously. Optimize that photo, write killer bio with keywords, pin your best stuff. Make that first impression count.
Good starting point, then.
Yeah. Then, if you decide, based on your goals and what we've discussed from the sources, that a strategic boost is part of your plan. Choose the right growth service. Do that independent research we talked about, check reviews, look for proof, and maybe start with a smaller package to test the waters safely and ethically.
Okay, research first, then maybe dip a toe in.
Exactly. Next, set a content calendar. Even if it's just planning MWF posts for the next couple of weeks, know what you're going to post and when. Try to tie some of it into current trends in your niche. Consistency builds that momentum.
Right, the schedule. What else?
Engage actively. Reply to every single comment you get, if you can. Send thoughtful DMs back to followers sometimes. And crucially, spend time commenting authentically on other creators' videos in your niche.
So be part of the community.
Yes, this isn't just networking. The algorithm sees that activity. It amplifies the effects of any follower boost you might get.
Makes sense. Active accounts get rewarded.
Then analyze and pivot weekly. Don't just post and forget. Dive into your TikTok analytics. Which videos are bringing in new followers? Which ones have the highest watch time? Double down on what's working and adjust or ditch what's not.
Be data-driven.
Absolutely. And finally, make collaboration a goal. Reach out to peers whose content you genuinely admire. Pitch, duet, or sketch ideas. Offer to cross-promote. Networking is just so key on social platforms now.
Yeah, it really seems like it.
And the case study of @PlantPal mentioned in the sources really brings this whole blend to life.
Oh, yeah. Tell us about that.
They apparently went from around 700 followers to 18,500 in just 3 months.
Wow, that's significant growth. How?
By doing exactly this blend, they combined really focused niche content educational clips, Q&As about houseplant care, with a rock-solid, consistent posting schedule. And they used a targeted growth service package strategically.
So niche content, consistency, and a service boost.
That exact combination. And it led to a massive increase in their reach, which then directly resulted in actual brand partnerships for them.
That's powerful. It really confirms that smart growth is this blend. Strategic investment in tools where it makes sense, plus that consistent, quality, organic effort.
Yeah, the key takeaways from all the sources really boil down to that. Quality matters. You need real engagement from reputable sources if you go that route. Consistency in posting and engaging is just non-negotiable.
Yeah.
It builds momentum with the algorithm.
Right.
And success isn't guesswork. It's measurable. Use your analytics to constantly tweak and adapt your approach.
So the TikTok landscape in 2025, yeah, it's challenging, no doubt. But the opportunity for a breakthrough is definitely there if you approach it proactively.
Seems like it.
It takes talent in your content, obviously, but also a smart strategy that leverages both organic effort and, where you need it, trusted services, plus that consistent engagement with your actual community.
Absolutely. If you have goals on TikTok, whether it's just getting more visibility or maybe you're dreaming of brand deals or even just sharing your passion with more people, the sources make a strong case that now's the time to implement this kind of blended strategy.
Optimize that profile.
Carefully consider if that initial momentum boost, maybe from a reputable service like rapidboost.net, fits your strategy.
And crucially,
Back it all up with great, consistent content and real, authentic engagement.
their TikTok breakthrough might be closer than it seems when you put all those pieces together.
Definitely worth thinking about.
Yeah.
And maybe consider this final thought. How could this blend, this mix of strategic tools and authentic engagement, how could it fundamentally change who sees your content? And maybe even more importantly, what opportunities could become available to you on the platform because of that shift? What specific goal could that unlock for you?